If you've been feeling a lot of anger or you don't know what to do with your anger, then this video is for you. I want to talk to you about how you can turn your anger into creativity, how we can actually use our inner sacred rage to create something beautiful. So first, let's talk about anger. Anger is one of those emotions that we often label as bad, negative, something that we shouldn't feel. That's something that we've been conditioned to believe since childhood. Or especially for women, we might say, showing anger was completely unacceptable. It wasn't ladylike. And yet anger is the emotion that tells us when we're not happy with something, when we feel like someone is crossing our boundaries. It's a way of us trying to protect our inner sacred space. And so why is it that we have made anger a bad emotion when setting boundaries and stepping up for ourselves is so important and an important part of feeling confident and authentic in ourselves? Now, what is sacred rage? Sacred rage can be seen as something a little bit deeper. Perhaps it's that inner fire in you that you've been holding perhaps for a really long time or for lifetimes, like many of us. That is the anger on a level of feeling deeply violated or the sense of injustice. And many of us carry this, but we don't know how to access it in a healthy way. And when we talk about making the rage sacred, this is what I want to talk to you about today in this video, is how we can actually use our inner anger, our rage, as something sacred to turn it into creative power for the highest good of yourself and the world. So let me share with you my story with anger and sacred rage. Like many of us, especially women, as I said before, I had no access to my anger. My anger was completely shut off from my awareness, and it was completely internalized. And what I mean by that is that I created an inner dialogue that was mean, harsh, not loving in any way from a very young age. And so that's how I processed anger, is to turn it against myself. Now, what did that lead to? It led to not being able to put in boundaries, not being able to say no when my body clearly was screaming, I don't want to, whether it's through big or small situations in my life. It led to people-pleasing patterns, which I guess we know is a reflection of a survival strategy. It's a survival strategy to keep ourselves safe when things haven't felt safe and there wasn't an option to fight, to use our anger. And it also led me to a space of feeling complete powerlessness. I felt I had no access to my inner power, my fire, my solar plexus chakra, which is all about our confidence, our literally our inner fire. It's the fire element, it's the color yellow. It was very disconnected and imbalanced, and would explain a lot of the digestive issues that I've had from a very young age, including celiac disease. And so you might find as well that if anger has been an emotion that you tend to want to steer away from, it's possible that it's not because you don't feel anger, because everyone feels anger. It's part of being human. It's that you had been conditioned in some way to believe that feeling anger was a complete no-no. It's almost, it became lost in your bodily, your somatic vocabulary. We don't feel that. Let's stay away from it. Let's continue pleasing. And again, I want to emphasize with this that that's usually a survival response, and it's served us for a purpose to keep us safe, the people pleasing. But what you might find, and this is what happened for me, is that the anger just stirs. It just stirs in your body physically, emotionally, whether that's through pains or whether it's just simply through this feeling of inner frustration of why can't I get ahead? Why am I allowing life and certain situations or people drag me back down when I know that there's something in me that's just waiting to express my power? And so this is where over the journey I've accessed my anger and decided I'm going to see it as sacred rage and not as something to deny within myself anymore, because it wasn't helping me. Not anymore. Can I ask you for a moment, if your anger had a voice, what would it say? What would it want to say? If it had the words to describe how you had been feeling for however long it may be, what would your anger want to say? And this is where you can start to build a relationship with it, to understand it from a curious place and a compassionate place rather than from resistance or fear. And so this is where we can begin bringing our anger into creativity. But let's first talk about why feeling our anger is actually important to our creativity. So our sacral chakra, the second chakra, which is the color orange, located at our lower belly, our womb space, is all about our emotions. It's the water element, the flow of emotions. It's our sensuality, our sexuality. It's our creative expression. And why is that? It's because we create, we birth from the womb. That's how life happens. And so what can happen if we don't allow our emotions to flow, and in this example, our anger, to flow through us in a healthy way that we need to hold it, what happens to our creativity? It gets stuck. How can we step into our creative expression if there's no flow, if there is no life force, no fluidity of the water within, the emotions within? And so perhaps one way that you can start to access your anger in a way that doesn't have to feel too overwhelming, because I know it can be, it can feel that way, is to move your body, dance, move your body in a way where it's your womb space moving you, moving your anger. And it doesn't have to be always about punching, screaming when it comes to feeling our anger. It can be simply through moving the emotion through and processing it through our body that we can already notice a shift. Now, I do want to talk to you about 3 steps that have helped me to access or bring up my anger so that I can turn it into creativity. Step 1, feel it. And again, I want to say, I know it's not easy. It can feel intense, especially if feeling anger feels quite unfamiliar for you. And yet I want to remind you that you already have everything within you to be able to hold yourself in it. You just have to trust and let it flow. And so one way that we might be able to access or bring up that inner anger is through somatic practices, such as pressing your hands against a wall as strongly as you can and feeling that inner shake that happens, letting the anger build up. Or you could do it through pushing your palms together and feeling that energy. If you notice any part of you feeling like you might lose it, can you notice that and just come back to your breath? Come back to your breath and come back to pushing against the wall, because we don't want to hurt ourselves or hurt someone else in the process. And so as much as you may find an urge to punch something, I invite you to breathe through it and to continue the pushing so that it's not harmful to you. And so as you feel that, notice what emotions might actually come up. Is it tears? Is it a scream? Is it noises, sounds, anything that you may need to make to let that anger flow through you? And so allow that to happen and continue to breathe through it, always coming back to the breath, because we want our nervous system to feel safe enough to hold us in that emotion. If you need to play music that might help you to access the anger, then do so. And again, maybe it will be more through moving your body, through dancing, rather than pressing up against the wall. Now, step 2 is very crucial. Step 2 is about holding yourself with compassion with what just came up for you. This is often a part that we tend to miss. We might feel the emotion and we go straight into our thinking, our logic again. Okay, how do I get on with the rest of my day? We need to acknowledge that we just allowed the emotion that we've suppressed for so long, that we've allowed it to come up. And so how do we do that? We validate ourselves. We say, it's okay. I know this was hard. You are safe now. You did so well. Perhaps putting a hand on your heart and one on your womb space and closing your eyes. It might be that you can feel a certain part of you, maybe an inner child part, coming up as it was feeling the anger. And so can you talk to that part with some compassion? And I know, again, this is not an easy step, as self-compassion is something that we all can struggle with. And so an invitation is to, for a moment, step into an observer perspective. What would I do? What would I say if someone I really cared about, a loved one or a little child, just had these big emotions come up, how would I hold them? What would they need? And so this is a really important step after feeling the emotion, is to be with that, to hold yourself with compassion, with love. And this is also what the dark feminine teaches us. She teaches us to be with our emotions and to express them authentically, but still holds us in this loving way. The dark feminine is not in any way mean. She's actually incredibly loving. She holds so much self-love. And so can you invite her energy that's already within you to hold you in that process? And this is something that I will talk more about in my other videos, how the dark feminine energy can be awakened within you to hold you during difficult times or to help you through times of transformation, to remember your inner power, your authenticity. Step 3, this is where we can come back a bit more into our thinking mind. So we've started the process more within the body because we know emotions need to be felt. We can't think our way through emotions, we have to feel them. But now that we've held space for them, we've had an opportunity for the energy to flow through. We held ourselves with compassion, with love. This is now where we can think clearly about how to channel this anger that just came up into something creative. And you might find that through that process, you gain new insights, new ideas, because you've just created space. Your sacral chakra is not blocked the way that it was before. You have space to create, to flow. And so maybe you might write down some ideas, journal what just happened, what came up for you. If there was a feeling of injustice that came up for you in the process of the anger arising, perhaps you want to put it into something creative where you're doing something that feels good for you and others, whether it's helping others in a big or a small way. So turning our anger into creativity is not about becoming malicious or to do it from a victim mentality of the circumstances that may have happened for you. It's actually about activating that inner fire to create, which is what we are here for. Our purpose here on earth is to bring creations into the world to make it a better place. And we do that in our own unique individual way, which is incredible. And it can be big or small, but it all makes a difference. And so this is where I invite you to channel your anger, your sacred rage, into what it is that you want to share with the world. And again, it doesn't have to be in such direct, obvious ways. It can sometimes be in subtle ways, consistent small steps that you might feel a deeper sense of fulfillment and an honoring of what maybe was missing for you. This is how we can access our soul's purpose. And that has been my journey through holding space for my anger, through creating my rage into something sacred, something that I would have never thought years ago, because I would say, I'm not an angry person. I don't feel anger. And yet now I can see that my anger was always there, as it is with everyone. But it's also my anger that has brought me into why I'm here. And that is to remember my own inner power, my authentic power, and to help others find theirs, even when there's been deep hardship, especially when there's been deep hardship. And so I hope this video has offered you some insights into how your inner anger is not something to be avoided. It's quite the opposite. It's actually something to hold space for, to help you ignite your inner fire, your creativity, to access why you're here in the first place. And through that, you might find that life feels a bit more fluid, a little bit more free. You have more space within you because you're not holding on to all of that stuck energy. I wish you a wonderful rest of the day. Namaste.